My first thoughts was what a hard ass he was when it came to negotiating. I don't think a lot of the guys here kind of appreciate what Gil Brandt did for the Cowboys. He was able to change the game itself, the way things were, the way he recruited, the way he scouted, and also the way he got cheap labor. I always tell people that all the time. But he was a guy that was legendary for the NFL game. And during his last years, he was also very involved in the Black College Hall of Fame. He was on the board of that organization. So I saw him every year in Atlanta. And, he allowed us to go off on him every once in a while on his interviews because he knows that he rubbed a lot of people wrong, but it was all for the good of the Cowboys as far as he was concerned. He was a tough guy to negotiate with, and that's really what I will remember him for, except for those last days of being on his radio show, having a little fun with it.
You brought up the Black College element. You go back to the Bob Hayes and all the players from Black colleges. Too Tall Jones, the first one, to get #1 overall, and that helped the Cowboys, become, one of the forerunners of getting Black college players.
Yeah, the HBCUs were major for the Cowboys back in the day. I had a lot of company there. I had a lot of support from guys like Mike Hegman, right. Guys like Too Tall Jones, of course, the great Bob Hayes. These are the kind of guys that Gil Brandt was out there looking for, and when he was scouting for it, he wasn't just up there, just picking things out of the air. He did a good job of scouting, and he understood what we brought to the table. I still don't know if he knew I was going to make the team, but the fact that he signed me, I think that's a feather in his hat as well.
Did you find your and other players' relationships changed with him after you got away from the team? Because, again, a lot of guys had the same stance when they were playing here.
I always teased him about how his change was so evident. I told him he's trying to get to heaven in his old age, but he always liked that joke. And but he did a good job during those last days and last years of really elevating HBCUs just as he did in those early years as he recruited us for this team.
How about his knack for finding guys who maybe even didn't even play football?
He was one of the first guys, I think, is one of the first really officials that understood that basketball players could be good football players. I don't care what your sport was. If you were a multi-sport athlete, then you were one of Gil Brandt's guys. And so if you look at the Charlie Waters, we talked about this on the show this morning, you look at Charlie Waters, you look at Billy Joe Dupree playing basketball. I didn't know Charlie Waters was an all-conference wide receiver. You look at guys that can do things other than basketball, and that piqued his interest in regards to you being not just a good football player, but mostly a leader for this squad.
Everson, what do you remember about Gil's Ring of Honor moment, what that meant to him?
Oh, man, that was major for him. I'm so glad that Jerry was able to do that for him and for his family because, that transition from the old school versus the new school, meaning the Tex Schramm days versus the Jerry Jones days, that transition was kind of tough for everyone. And the fact that he was kind of embraced in that manner, I think that did a lot for him during his last days.
I appreciate you, man.
Guys, good? All right.